right. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back. Hope you had a great trip. Um, we are going to get started in our blue book here by, as we do every week, saying how nice it is for us to be together with the singing of Hine Matov, page 128. Hine matov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, hine matov. Yalalai, yalalai, hine matov, hine matov. Yalalai, yalalai, hine matov umanaim shevet achim gam yachad. We'll turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barhuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're going to turn back to page 138 for the singing of Lechadodi, a song that is about as if we get to be at a wedding when we watch Shabbat and God and all of us come together to celebrate this evening. Page 138. We'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lehu v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavati la lecha dodi lecha dodi likra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likra kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, kiva ore, kumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kivod anai alaich nigla. Leha dodi, likra kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela, lehado likra kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the entrance to greet Shabbat. Bohoi v'shalom aterebala, gam besimha uvetzoholam, toch emune am segula. Boi hala, leha dodi likra kala, pene Shabbat nekabela, leha dodi likra kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated. Shabbat Shalom, it's good to have you here. Lindsay Woodbury, you just came back from Israel. I saw your text and I just realized because I poorly scheduled myself the last few days where I had wall-to-wall meetings from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. that I didn't respond. I'm so sorry. But when did you get back? Yesterday. And was this your first time ever going to Israel? That is a wonderful thing. I got to go with your mom last year. Mom went with me to Israel. And I'm so proud that you would do that, particularly right now when people need to go and show Israel that we stand with them, that we aren't abandoning them. That's wonderful. Would you mind coming up here and doing the honor of lighting our candles for us as a result this Shabbat? I want us to get together and I want to hear everything about your trip. All right? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you, Lindsay. Welcome back. Did you love it? Did you have a great time?
I loved it.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. We're going to turn to the Hatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei rabba be'almadi vrachir tevim lich malhute b'ha'yehon uvyomechon uv'hayedecho be'Yisrael Bagala, Uizmahan Kaharib, Bimeru, Yeheshme Rabba Mevorach, Le'alamo Me'omaya Yitbarach, V'yishtavach, V'yipar, V'yitramam, V'yinaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudisha, Berehu, Le'elam, Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbehata V'nehemata, Dahamiram Be'alma, V'meru, Amen. We're going to rise for our call to worship the Baruch Hu on page 146. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai 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 lai. Ya lai lai. Baruch hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach. Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Hamevora, Hamevora, Leolam Vae. You may be seated. We're going to turn to the top of page 149 and read together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 150. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Avta Amcha Avta Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shorbeinu, uvkumenu nasiach behukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uvmitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem hayenu, Ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla, ve'avchavta al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha be'chol levavcha u'bechol nafshecha u'bechol meodecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayam al levavecha ve'shinatam levanecha ve'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'veitecha u'letecha avaderech u'shochbecha uvkumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai Vitem kiddushim le'Elohehem, Ani Adonai Elohehem, Asher hotzeiti ethem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lahem le'Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohehem, Adonai Elohehem, Emet. Something that you learn in physics is that every action causes a reaction. and that there's consequences for the decisions we make as well as the ones we don't make. And so when our people stood on the edge of the desert in front of the Sea of Reeds, wondering, do I cross over or do I not? They were thinking about all the consequences if they did cross over the sea. What those potential consequences were. Were they going to find themselves without shelter or food, or being picked off by tribes in the desert, in the Sinai desert? And that's what concerned them. But they weren't thinking until one person named Nachshon courageously ran through the crowd and jumped into the sea, and then it split. Until Nachshon did that, nobody was thinking really of the consequences of what would happen if they didn't cross the sea, of what that would mean for them, but also their descendants who followed them. And so it's important for us to think through what we do, because very often we can think about what scares us if we do something. But sometimes it's important to be just as scared of what happens if we don't take action. And so hopefully anything that is keeping us from experiencing our utmost freedom, we can overcome as well. Page 158 is Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osefele, Nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, V'hokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Se'eli anu ve'amru, Se'eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Page 160. Through the first two verses, the Hashkivenu, asking God to watch over us as we go to sleep tonight and help us go to sleep in peace and wake up tomorrow in peace. And then we'll jump down to the indentation. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu lishalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu lishalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoheinu lechaim ol shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu lishalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Top of 162. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshe yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz, vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, La'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shavat vayinafash, Shavat vayinafash, Shavat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. We rise for the Amidah on page 164. Adonai sefatai tivta ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Hastei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Gila Livnei V'Nehem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Ata Rav Le'oshia Morid HaTahal Mechalkel Hayim Behesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Ve'Rofei Holim Umatir Asurim Umekayem emunato lishenei afar mihamocha ba'al gevurot umidom elach melech memi umehayeh umatzmiya Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Ata Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh Ukadoshim B'Chol Yom Yihallelu Chasela Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue silently on page 172 through page 180, and when you're finished at your discretion, you may be seated. Ose shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru. Ve'imru. Amen. Yase shalom. Yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom. Yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Been doing that prayer for peace ever since October 7th, hoping that the end outcome of this war will be greater peace for Israel and the region. And also since October 7th, we have been offering this prayer for the state of Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there, and strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Let's say Amen. And this time we're going to turn to page 371 for our prayer for healing, the Mishaberach, in the middle of the page. And this week we think of the following individuals who could use a prayer for healing. Gittel Leah bat Mashachana, Harav Yehuda Le ben Dina, Myron Yisrael ben Rachel, Daniel Meir ben Chaya Etia, Baruch ben Sarah, Ikafega bat Gittel, Gilahaya bat Mordechai Le v'Gilu Leah, Tova Chava bat Chaya Rochel, Leora bat Oded v'Rachel, Yifat Chayut bat Tova, Chaya Liba bat Miriam v'Hershel, Rivka bat Fladel Baruch, Sarah Bell, David Dowsett, Angela Eno, Fran Lappin, Tanner Light, Megan Magleby, Penny Spector, Adina Stern, Nancy Strayanik, Sam Winkler, and Judy Wolf. If you have a name to add, I invite you to do so when I look in your direction. And if you are watching on our live stream, I'll invite you to share a name as well. Mishebera avotenu mekor habraha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebera imotenu mekor habraha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. I was talking with some folks earlier about my love of travel, which is something that people here know about me, and how very often when I go and explore other parts of our country or other parts of the world, I see things that connect to lessons in the Torah and in Judaism. And one of the places that I went that was very moving was the city of Hiroshima in Japan. Now, most of us know Hiroshima for one main reason in history. That's the atomic bomb It was one of the two cities that the United States dropped an atomic bomb on during World War II. And so I wanted to see this place, which also has a lot of other wonderful things to see in it. And it's actually a really neat town. But I thought that would be, when I went to Japan, a significant thing to see as a day trip, to do as a day trip, was go to Hiroshima, to also the site where the atomic bomb was dropped and the museum that was there. And I do have to admit that compared to most museums or other places I go, I was a little nervous as an American going there. Obviously, that's a very sensitive place and a very painful place, particularly for the people of Japan. And I was wondering if I would get some mean looks, some comments, or anything like that. I didn't. People were very nice to me. But I was really surprised by one thing when I went to the museum. When I was reading the testimonies of the survivors of the atomic bomb, something that kept coming up over and over and over again was their anger, which seems understandable, was the tremendous anger they felt. But what surprised me was I didn't read or hear a single one of them express their anger towards the United States. They were expressing their anger towards the Japanese empire and the Japanese government. And they were saying, why did we attack Pearl Harbor? Why did we go into this war? Look at what it has brought to us. Look at the pain that we have suffered that could have been avoidable had we not gone into this war. And that was really shocking to me, that was where their anger was directed. And in our Torah portion this week, Behukotai, we read about all these things that Israel, the nation of Israel, the people of Israel, are supposed to do in order to have success and blessing, such as this bit of a continuation of last week, the Jubilee year, the every 7 years setting aside that part of your field and not touching it. And following these commandments, these mitzvot, will lead to you having agricultural and therefore economic prosperity. But in Behukotai, it goes further and says, look, if you don't do this, though, there will be consequences. There will be consequences for violating these mitzvot. And you will suffer as a result of it. And later on in the Torah, what we read as Moses is preparing to die, his parting words with his people were, you have two choices in front of you, blessing or curse. Choose wisely. If you do the things you're supposed to do, you're going to be in great shape. You will have a lot of good things that happen in your life. And if you don't, you're going to suffer and have bad consequences. And so we've seen, really, as a result, I mentioned Japan, but we see as well countries that have reached forward in peacemaking efforts that have been rewarded. Egypt, for example, since they reached out and created peace with Israel, they are now the second largest receiver of U.S. foreign aid, and they've not had really any wars since 1973. They've had some internal problems about 10 years ago, but they haven't had any big wars. When we look at Switzerland, who said, we aren't going to get involved in wars. Okay, they haven't been attacked then as a result. But also in looking at consequences too, I think as well back on the years of the Clinton administration. Now, Bill Clinton, he did some things that led to some consequences for him and a bit of a tarnishing of his reputation. But when he was asked about what his biggest regret as president was, does anybody know what he said? Now, what would you think he would say? Probably the Lewinsky scandal. That's what really tainted his reputation. I mean, Bill Clinton had a lot of foreign and domestic policy successes during his presidency, but that really tainted his legacy. But that's not what he said. He said that the biggest regret of his presidency was not intervening with the Rwandan genocide. And that's something that will haunt him for the rest of his life. And so in the case of President Clinton, when he looks back at his regrets, it was more the consequences that occurred, which was the deaths of 800,000 Rwandans in only a couple-month period as a result of his inaction, as opposed to his actions. And that brings us to today. I think personally that anybody with a heart and Jewish soul should be devastated for Gaza and the people in Gaza. And I appreciated so greatly what President Biden said today, which was, here are the terms of this ceasefire that I'm putting forward, that Israel's put forward. And Hamas needs to accept it, and anybody out there who has been advocating for the Palestinians needs to now put the pressure on Hamas to accept this, because, and then he said, they need to end the war that they started. And that is something that I think the world is failing to see and do right now. Like I said, what has happened to Gaza is devastating, is heartbreaking. The loss of any innocent life, we learn in Judaism, is as if we have lost an entire world. Just as the atomic bomb being dropped on Hiroshima was horrific and devastating. And there's a lot of debate to this day if that was the morally right thing to do. But what I so greatly appreciated about, again, the Japanese people is that instead of saying, oh, we are just victims, they stopped and asked themselves, what were the consequences of our actions? Like, what actions led to these consequences? And what could we have done to prevent this catastrophe from ever happening? And that's not what we're hearing from these protesters on college campuses. That's not what we're hearing from the people at the UN. We all need to be caring about the people of Gaza, but we also need those people who claim to care about them to remember how we got to where we are to this day. And as a result, if they really care about the Palestinians, they need to say there needs to be consequences for what happened on October 7th, and that the people who ruled you can no longer do so, because they are the ones who led to you being in this situation. And so I hope that we can all remind our friends of that. I hope that we can, as a world, be reminded of that and raise our voices for a better future tomorrow for Israel and those in Gaza. But that can only occur if the people who are responsible for what's happening now are held accountable for the consequences of their actions. And so for all of us, we too must think, if I take this action, if I do this thing, what will be the consequences? And also, if I sit back and don't take action, if I don't speak up, what are the consequences of that choice as well? And choose wisely. Shabbat Shalom. I want to thank the Salt Lake City Police for being here. Keep us safe. And thank you for being here this evening. I'm excited that in a couple of weeks, our incoming cantor on June 14th and 28th will be here leading alongside me before he formally starts in mid-July. So please come check that out. And also, speaking of July, that's when we're going to start our summer Shabbatot in people's backyards on Friday nights. Please come. Those are always fun. There's often food, and it's really enjoyable. This Sunday, please join Faye Lincoln for the third of her 5-part series on technology threats, AI, social media, and education. So that'll be this Sunday at 10 a.m. There will be a light breakfast at 9:30 before her 10 a.m. presentation. Faye has published books about technology, about values. Really a fascinating person. Now, June is Pride Month, and we have a lot to celebrate. Last night, we hosted 200 people in our sanctuary to kick off the Interfaith Pride service for the city of Salt Lake. And this Sunday at 10 a.m., there will be folks marching with Cole and me in the Pride Parade. You're welcome to join them. On Thursday evening, there is going to be a presentation via Zoom from the organization A Wider Bridge. A Wider Bridge mobilizes the LGBTQ community to fight anti-Semitism and support Israel and its LGBTQ community. So that is a great way, particularly for folks in the queer community. I would really encourage you to check that out. That's a wonderful resource and organization that brings the LGBTQ community in Israel and in America closer together and supports each other. Our Pride Shabbat service and dinner will be next week on June 7th. Come for that. That'll be a really great service. And also we will have on June 23rd, our Kolami Queer Jewish Book Club is going to meet. Now, also we have coming up Shavuot, my favorite Jewish holiday. And with Shavuot, it's going to take place the evening of June 11th through June 13th. And I'm really excited because we're going to be welcoming in, one of my former professors and a renowned scholar, Rabbi Dr. Devorah Weisberg, who is really highly regarded across the country as a top thinker in Talmud and in feminist commentary. And so she will be the keynote for our Tikkun Leil Shavuot program on the night of the 11th. From the Seder to Sinai is what she's going to be talking about. And on June 12th, she'll give the Devar Torah for our morning service. And afterwards, at our Lunch and Learn, we'll be presenting the origins of formal Jewish education, a Talmudic account. And that evening, Rabbi Weisberg will join our Rosh Chodesh women's group for Women Speak to God, the prayers of the biblical women. Should be very interesting. Registration for our summer Shabbaton at Strawberry Reservoir is now open. Join us for Shabbat under the stars, camping, community, and fun for all ages. And of course, lots of s'mores. This event will sell out, so sign up today. Early bird pricing goes through June 19th. And membership renewal statements have been mailed. Please complete the member payment agreement and submit a 25% payment by June 19th, or sign up for membership if you're not a member yet by June 19th to receive a 5% dues discount, and also your high holiday tickets. And I mentioned my love of travel. Next May, I'm going to be leading a Cole and me trip to where all am I going? Poland, Slovakia, and Hungary, 3 countries over 10 days, I believe it is. So come check that out if you're interested in going with me. Come talk to me about it, and we'll be having later in June an info session. So with all that, Shabbat Shalom. We are going to move to the concluding part of our service on page 586 with Aleinu. I'll invite you to rise. We're at the bottom of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latekidu la'leotzer breshit shelo asanu kigoe haratzot elo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama shelo sam helkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kehol hamonam v'anachnu korim Umishtahavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yosei haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mimal u'shinatu zo b'gov hei meromim hu Eloheinu einod Emet Malkeinu Epizulato Kakatu Betorato Vidatayom V'hashevota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim B'shamayim Imah Ve'al haaretz mitachat einod Einod. Oh, okay, Nika. Kakatuv b'Torah techa Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu Ye Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad. You may be seated. At this time, we think of those whom death has recently taken from us, and those who have died in this season and years past, and those who we draw into our hearts with our own as we remember them. If you hear the name of a loved one, you're invited to rise upon hearing their name. In the period of Shloshim, we think of all those in the last 30 days who have lost their lives either as a result of terror or in defense of the state of Israel. And this week we commemorate the following Yortzeitz's anniversary of the passing of these loved ones. Donna Ballendrin, Edith Bolitsky, Tony Cook, Bernie Dorman, Mauricio Dolfano, Walter Fogel, Nancy Foote, Miriam Fritzmeyer, Jeffrey Fuden, Alice Katz-Garay, Howard Garland, Ray Snyder-Gelman, Morris Goldberg, Leo Goldsmith, Ben Harris, Morris Hayden, Larry Horn, Ronald J. Kaplan, Fanny Karasik, Emil Kempler, Herman Keslansky, Ellen Keston, Sonia Lemieux, Rachel Levy, Fred Linden, Belle Lobel, David Miro, Joel L. Alliner, Herman Ottenheimer, Rose Annette Pepper, Marin Plotkin, Frankie Pratt, Lena Rosen, Morris Rosenblatt, Samuel Ross, Bernice Yabik Schiffman, Isidore Tarr, Clara Teutsch, and David Zinnick. If you have a name to add when I look in your direction, you can share with our community. And if you're watching on our live stream, you can share a name as well. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. If you're in mourning, or as your tradition do so, you're welcome to rise. We're on page 598. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemer ba, ve'alma divrach hirute v'yimlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dehol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yisman kari v'emru, yehe shmei rabba mivrach le'olam omei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'rihu, le'ela minko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nehemata, dam iram be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who are mourning come for the bereaved among us. Again, we say, Amen. And we are going to conclude, as we have been since October 7th, with the singing of Israel's national anthem, Hatikva. If you wish, you are invited to rise in body or spirit for this. We are on page 678. Kol balevav penimam nefesh Yehudi Homia Ofate Mizra Kadima Ayin Letzio Sophia Adlo Avda Tikvatenu Hatikva Bat Shnota Paim Liotam Chofshi Ve'artseinu Eretz Sion V'Yerushalayim Liotam Chofshi Ve'artseinu Eretz Sion V'Yerushalayim. We are going remain standing for Kiddush, page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri agaven. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron l'maseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila lemikrae kodesh zehel etziat mitzrayim Kivanu vaharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodsheha ve'ahava uvratzon inhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. And have here a challah made by my friend Moshe. Makes the best chalot in town, state, west of the Mississippi. No. Let's join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Motzi lechem min haaretz v'te'avon. Te'avon, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Help yourself. Holla. Shabbat Shalom.